Hello guys, sorry I've been absent for insert amount of time. Life and everything gets a little carried away, and I actually thought that I would be more free in the summer to do videos, which was quite actually the opposite. Anyway, in any case, I'm going to, at the very least, try and kind of start doing something. I figured that Victoria 2 would be a good one. I'm planning on doing kind of, for lack of a better word, a rant and a review on Paradox as a whole, and well, really, I guess strategy games and the way that a lot of the industry seems to be going with them. For example, the move towards DLC and compartmentalizing games to be kind of ridiculously broken up. But anyway, that's for another day. Today, I'm going to probably be playing a little bit of Victoria, and I think that I'll be uploading that sometime soon. I thought I would just kind of do a little bit of a run through of what Victoria 2 is. It's probably one of my favorite games, and honestly, I couldn't really imagine playing another Paradox game for the amount of hours that I have played this, although I think Crusader Kings comes pretty close in my hours. So anyway, without further ado, Victoria 2 is kind of as the name implies. It's playing inside the Victorian period, only like most Paradox games, you're very in-depth and you're spending a lot of time staring at a map, which this game seems to be even more staring at maps and charts than most of the Paradox games. I mean, to be frank, a lot of games in the Paradox kind of genre of grand strategy are pretty disassociated from action. You're not really that involved, and with Victoria, it's even more so. CK2, you are the character, whoever you're playing as. You're not really playing as England as a whole or Scotland or whatever. You're playing as the Count or the Duke or the King or even the Emperor of a title. So you're not really playing as the country. And in EU4, you're playing, well, I guess Europa Universalis in general, you're playing as the, as the nation and kind of guiding the nation out of the feudal age and into the modern world. And Victoria is kind of the culmination of all of those hundreds of years you spend in EU trying to build your nation up to something. Oh, excuse me again. Jeez, I'm just burping quite a bit. Anyway, so what you are doing in Victoria is basically you're playing as one of these nations, but the biggest focus is on kind of the political and economic features within a country. So it's 1836. The Industrial Revolution has started, and I would say that Britain is probably the only country that's really had a severe amount of industrialization, and right now it's kind of going through a big change in history. But countries like Russia right now are about as close to they are at the end of EU as they're probably the closest to how they are at the end of EU. Like the United States is pretty different. It's on the way. The biggest issues with the United States are slavery and the contentious issues that involves. But the biggest thing that sets Victoria apart, aside from its focus on the economic side of everything, is populations. And so the short name is POPs in the community, and POPs are generally, for those of you who don't know, they're essentially the parts of the population of the state, or the country, that is. So the United States, as you can see, 14% of it is slaves, so that means the concerns of the slaves are basically 14% of your population. Everything that they want is in that percentage. Since they can't vote, it doesn't really matter to you, because as the United States, since you're a democracy, you only care about landed voters, I believe, at the beginning. Whereas countries like Prussia, you're an absolute monarchy. You don't give a damn what anybody says in your country, because the only reason you should be concerned about that is to prevent a rebellion or something of that nature. France, same thing. The majority of the people are farmers. I mean, Russia, the majority are between farmers and laborers. So, farmers obviously making food, and laborers tend to be like miners and woodcutters, things like that. Kind of your raw materials. So your raw material production at the beginning of the game, you can see how it takes up easily over 75% of most countries' populations are to that. I mean, look at Britain. Britain has 80% just farmers. But a little bit of something to say is Britain controls India, so, it affects how their pops are. Anyway, kind of rambling on here, but basically the reason that I like Victoria is because it is very, very in-depth. The DLC has probably been the least, kind of the least robbing of my money type of feeling. Like when the DLC in this, there's 2 expansion packs. They're rather large, and they do change the game substantially. And then I think there's a few sprite packs, which isn't really a big deal. Not quite like the Europa Universalis updates, where there's an update for every new thing, and it feels like you're being squeezed out, or your money's being squeezed out of your pockets. But again, another video for another day. I think what I'm going to be doing in this video, I have never actually played a game right through to the end as Russia. I think that I'm going to try that. I have played as Prussia and unified all of Germany. That's a fun task to do. The United States is also fun, but I find that you're pretty bored a lot of the time because you're not involved in the European struggle for diplomacy and politics. So I'm going to be playing as Russia, and we will start that up in the next video. I really hope to be updating on this. Again, I'm terribly sorry to any of my subscribers who've been expecting, kind of a somewhat continuous content, and I kind of fell off the face of the map there for a bit. But I am back to kind of making a little bit of material. I'm hoping to keep on making some into the school year. With university, I should be able to do at least a video a month at the very least. So fingers crossed, hope everything goes well. So anyway, thanks guys for listening to the update, and we'll see you in the Victoria game.